Yeah, we see it.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to be on camera.
Oh,
okay.
Okay, here we go. Yep.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
give me about 10 seconds to intro. I'm going to say the Yale University Ivy League Network present the best in women's gymnastics from the John J. Lee Amphitheater in New Haven. It's the 4th annual Don Tonry Bulldog Invitational.
Yep.
Yale University and the Ivy League Network is proud to present the best in women's gymnastics from the John J. Amphitheater on the Yale campus in New Haven. It's the 4th annual Don Tonry Invitational, featuring Yale, Bridgeport, Southern Connecticut, and Springfield College. Hi again, everybody. I'm Mark Robbins, along with my partner, Allison Gaskins. And Allison, it's great to be here, and it's really exciting to get an opportunity to see these great gymnasts from all over the Northeast and really from 3 different divisions of college gymnastics.
It's unique that you say that, Mark, because you have athletes from the Division II, the Division III, and the Division I. What separates them all is the funding. So starting off with Yale, Yale's a Division I program, but they compete in the Ivy League, so they are not funded. Moving on to Division II, you have the University of Bridgeport and Southern Connecticut State. Division II programs are allotted up to 6 full scholarships. University of Bridgeport utilizing all 6 this season, but Southern Connecticut using less than 1. And then we move on to the Division III program here at the meet today, Springfield. They do not have scholarships as well, Mark.
All right, so we have, those are our participants. Of course, this is the 4th annual Don Tonry Bulldog Invitational. Don Tonry is the father of Yale Gymnastics. He got the program started with the men's program back in the early 70s.
Not only is Don Tonry the father of Yale Gymnastics, he's a U.S. Olympian himself, a U.S. World Championship team member, NCAA champion, and on top of it all, an author and an illustrator for multiple Sports Illustrated books on gymnastics.
So what we have is a quad meet, 4 schools within, about 100 miles or so of each other, Springfield coming the farthest, and they'll be set on the beam first. We'll get all of everything started. UB, Bridgeport, Southern Connecticut, Springfield, and of course the host, Bulldogs from Yale, as we get set to begin the 4th annual Don Tonry Bulldog Invitational. Yale will be up first on the vault as they are continuing their warm-ups right in front of us. And there's a look at some of our competitors throughout the building here, and a great crowd, Allison, has come on, a very loud group. It's going to be a very boisterous bunch here in the amphitheater.
When you have 4 teams competing, you expect to draw in a big crowd. It's a big meet. It's a fun meet. All teams have opted to come and compete at this meet today because of what it offers to Don Tonry and his remembrance. Also, right now, you can see all teams are finishing that 4-minute last touch warm-up, so they have 4 minutes to touch the apparatus for the last time before they compete. This is such an essential element of NCAA gymnastics because it allows you to get your muscles ready and get warmed up, ready to go.
This is the home opener for the Yale squad, coming off about an 8-day layoff. Last competition for the Bulldogs was at Iowa State when they competed in a quad meet with the Cyclones, West Virginia, and Northern Illinois. and a season best team score of 192.8 for the Bulldogs. They're going to look to try and top that as they get set to host this quad meet.
At this point in the season, you're already a couple meets in, whether it's 4 meets or 5 meets, and you're kind of getting your footing in. You're ready to go, but you're also trying to stay healthy. You're trying to limit the reps. And here we're going to go over to the beam where we have Springfield. That was a tuck onto the beam for the mount. Getting her dance elements in right here. Back handspring, step out, back tuck. Nice connection. Full turn.
This is
finding her rhythm here on the beam. It's only 4 inches wide, mind you. That's a nice wolf 3/4 turn.
We're looking at Taylor Campagnon, a sophomore from Johnstown, Rhode Island for Springfield.
Nice tuck full she just did there. As she works her way down to the beam, it is essential that you utilize all elements, all levels of height on this beam. That is part of the score. That's factored in. As she prepares now for her dismount. It's going to be a round off 1.5. Small step forward, but overall nice routine.
A good start for Springfield with Taylor Campagnon getting things going on the beam for Springfield College. Just coming right down I-91 from Springfield to New Haven, a little less than an hour's ride, a little more than an hour's ride. And now we'll move over. We're looking at the vault.
This is the freshman Alyssa Firth. She did not compete the first 2 meets, but since then she has competed all 4 events for the Bulldogs. As she approaches the vault with a beautiful Yuchenko full vault. Nice job by the freshman.
Wonderful start for Yale. Following up, Firth will be Roxanne Trachtenberg.
Now that vault that you just saw, the Yuchenko full, it used to be a score of 10.0 was the highest you could receive on it. In 2016, they downgraded that to a 9.975 because the vault was so common, especially at the upper levels in the SEC and the Big Ten. You saw so many gymnasts competing that Yuchenko full, so now they have to compete a Yuchenko 1.5 to get a full 10.
Moving over to the bars, University of Bridgeport up right now, and I believe this will be Tamara Powell-Brown.
Getting ready for her bar mount.
She a junior from Rocky Hill, Connecticut.
Nice handstand right on top of the bar. That's what the judges are looking for. As she moves up to the high bar. Straddle up handstand. Beautiful same bar release move. What height she got there.
Impressed her teammates.
You gotta. Preparing now for that dismount. Just one more element left in her routine. Full turn right on top of the bar. Double back. Small hop back. Great routine. You saw the fluidity in that routine. Is that something that's also factored into those scores? Being able to keep your routine moving at a consistent pace, not pausing, not stopping. I would love to see that same bar release move.
Well, we'll take a look
this
one
might
more
be her
time.
dismount. Oh, there it is. Nice, nice move there.
The junior out of Rocky Hill competed with New England Express. That's her gym before college. We'll get you the scores as we go along. We'll certainly update scores after each rotation. We will give you the team scores and get you the leaders as we continue. Again, the 4 apparatus as we rotate through. Yale, we are looking at now getting set. And this is Jade Buford. Buford, the sophomore from Coppell, Texas.
She'll be performing a front handspring, front pike. This starts at a 9.9 start value.
An elite gymnast from Texas, from that Texas Dreams gym.
And she has an ability to get a very high score on this vault. Her career high is a 9.725. Approaching that vault table. Front handspring, front pike. Small step forward. You see a smile on her face. She knows she hit that vault.
Jade Buford out of Coppell, Texas. One more time on the replay, Allison. What do you like about it?
I like the height that she got off the vault. She approached the vault with such confidence. You could tell her form in the air was solid. Her legs did not come apart. Great vault for Jade.
And back over to the balance beam for Springfield College. And we are, I believe, looking at
just in time for her dismount.
Tally Twomey. Twomey with that dismount. No discount
No discount.
on the landing. So Twomey finishing up her routine out of Cochituate, Mass, a sophomore. And now we move back over to the vault. We look at J.C. Baldovino.
J.C. Baldovino, the 3-time Rookie of the Week for the ECAC. She does not compete like a freshman. She competes like a senior with that confidence level. And here she is as she's going to compete a Yuchenko full. Chest a little low on that landing, not able to stick the landing as she is known to do. So she definitely can do better than that. However, let's watch this again. She got some nice height off the table, nice landing. Little step to the left, but not a horrible vault.
Baldovino, a freshman from Atherton, California, Northern California area, San Mateo region. And now back over to the bars for the University of Bridgeport. On the bars.
Preparing just in time for her dismount. Double lay. It looks like her toes might have hit that high bar on that double back lay.
That was Maritza Futch from Atlanta, Georgia, a junior.
And she's happy with that routine. Let's take a look one more time. Nope, she didn't hit that bar. Beautiful stuck landing. Again, her heels came together right as she saluted. If you don't get those heels together, that is a 0.05 deduction.
On the vault now for Yale, Megan.
No, this is Rebecca Chong.
Rebecca Chong.
Rebecca
yes.
Chong. She'll do a
And the deduction will come there for the step back on the landing. And it's really, isn't it up to the judge's discretion? What is a large, what is a small step
It is
back?
up to the judge's discretion. That was a Yuchenko half, small step forward. It does depend on the size of the step and how generous the judges want to be.
So Rebecca Chong finishing the first run through. 2 vaults for the competitors. And the first 6 have gone. The top 5 scores in all apparatus will be tallied up and kept. As you go back over, we go back over to the beam, to the bars.
That was a nice straddle Jaeger.
This is Lauren White, I believe, from Springfield College, or from University of Bridgeport, actually.
Straddle up to handstand right on top of the bar. She was able to lock it in.
Kelsey
Half turn
Campbell.
To a front double for her stick. Little step forward, not quite the perfect landing, but she did have a nice straddled Jaeger. There's her double front dismount with a reverse grip. That's a blind landing, so way to stick it.
We'll see Kelsey. She's an all-around star for the Purple Knights of Bridgeport out of Las Vegas, a senior. She'll be competing in all of the events as we go back over to the beam for Springfield.
And we just had a little fall on the beam. A fall off the beam is a 5/10 deduction taken from your overall score. And you do have 30 seconds to remount that beam if you fall off. But she jumped right back up and is ready to get back into it. Here's a standing tuck. Nice job, landed with her shoulders up, chest lifted. Getting in those dance elements. That was a beat to a tuck full jump sequence, connecting the two. Take one more deep breath before that dismount. For gainer, the gainer pike. Not a bad routine. She did have that fall off, so that will be a heavy deduction. She'll have to brace. But
Ashley Parchinsky.
Yes, way to get back up and finish your routine.
From Springfield.
Mark, I feel like when they're on beam, I have to use my inside golf voice. You don't want to influence the beam by any.
Well, but there's so much going on all around. It's actually probably easier when there's noise and when
That
it
is
becomes
true.
quiet, when things stop, that you suddenly wonder. It's like a sleeping baby. You got to teach them how to sleep in noise, and then they're fine when they're out in the public. But now we have the next competitor stepping up for Springfield. That looks to be Lauren White. Lauren White out of Littleton, Massachusetts, a senior. As we go back over to the floor, we're looking at Southern Connecticut State.
Round off back handspring, double back. Nice height on that double back. She had no problem finding her landing. You got to round off. Again on floor, they're looking for that dance element. They're looking for the jump sequence. Those jumps have to hit a 180-degree angle if you're in the split, or there is a small deduction. You also do have to dance on the floor and show the different levels to get full credit. Showing some personality here with her music. As she'll dance into the corner for her third and final tumbling pass. One more deep breath. And it'll be a back 1.5 to a front pike. What a fun move there to finish her routine.
Solid effort on the floor for Southern Connecticut State. The Owls beginning this Don Tonry Invitational on the floor. A nice pass.
That was a front layout, connected. There's her front 1.5 to a front tuck where she used that for her third and final tumbling pass. Way to keep up her energy and her momentum throughout the routine. Back onto the beam for Springfield.
Springfield's Taylor Jackson.
Switch leap.
Jackson, a sophomore from Ocean City, New Jersey.
Getting ready for her full turn. Drop the shoulder a little bit. Unable to complete that rotation. Preparing for her dismount. Front tuck. At 5/10 of deduction right there on the fall. She's able to jump right back up and continue on to her routine. And in gymnastics, Mark, you have to have a short memory. You have to have short-term memory because as soon as you make a mistake, you can't let it get to you. Whether you're on the same event and you have to hop back up, or if you're moving from one event to another, you can't carry over what just happened.
And the dismount and the slight side step, but a strong finish for Taylor Jackson. The Spirit, Springfield College.
There's that front tuck that she just wasn't able to find the landing. Any front skills, you have a blind landing, and you really have to trust your body awareness. And it seemed like her hips were a little off in that front tuck, and there was her front full for her dismount. Doesn't look like she was overly excited for that routine because she knows she can do better.
Back to the floor, Southern Connecticut State continuing.
And this is Alex. She's one of the captains. She's a junior captain with the other 3 senior captains. They were voted on by the team, and she had enough votes that Coach Nelson felt it was appropriate to include her with the seniors in the captains group this year.
This is Alex
Back handspring,
Lesperos,
double back.
Alexandra.
She had a lot of height on that double back, and that's what you need in that type of skill because you're able to then open up and find your landing on the floor.
Folks may notice in one corner of the mat an additional mat. And what would that be for?
And there's no deduction for that. That's just sometimes a gymnast, it's a mental thing, and you are so used to practicing your tumbling passes with a mat there that if it's not there, it kind of feels like it's missing, and there's no deduction for it. It is lined with the boundaries, so it's just there for some extra support to save your ankles. And one of the fun things, right after this pass, I have to tell you about these floor routines for Bridgeport, for Central. So Central, Southern Connecticut, excuse me. Their floor routines are actually choreographed by Katie Aberger, one of their senior captains. She is known for her dancing skills, and she has helped choreograph both the floor routines and beam routines for many of the girls on this team. Front full to front layout.
Came up just a little bit, but
didn't complete the rotation there. And that's why you see her chest is a little too far back. She wants to be right on top of that landing in order to find her footing.
What I love is that she's got teammates, she's got support in every corner. When she lands, she's got people there clapping and supporting her. As we go back over Springfield on the beam, we believe that we are looking at Jessica
Clemens. I do believe so.
Jumps back up. Again, 30 seconds to remount the apparatus once you fall.
Oh, no.
And I hate to bring up the fall again.
That's 1 full point deduction.
Well, and now she's taking, which I think might be wise, taking the most of that 30 seconds to regroup and prepare for the final part of the routine.
And for the pride, this might be the score that you have to drop. And it's unfortunate because as the anchor, you're supposed to be able to pull the highest score on the team. So you do rely on your anchors for the most difficult routine for an athlete who's able to get up there and pull the biggest score. You'll see her coach calming her down a little bit, taking another deep breath before she gets on one final time.
Jen Nagis, the head coach of Springfield College.
Nice stuck tuck.
That builds confidence.
She did that earlier on in her routine. Full turn. That's that short-term memory I'm talking about. You have to forget what just happened, and you have to go up there and finish that routine. Switch leap to a split half. Getting in her dance elements. Time for that gainer dismount, gainer full dismount. Stuck. What a way to end that routine.
Way to finish strong. And that short memory came right into play that you were talking about. See it again. And
we're going to see what went wrong here on the routine. So it looked like she didn't complete that rotation, wasn't able to find the footing on that front tuck. Right here, she just completely lost that balance. And that's one of the things we talk about. You have to have those monkey toes. You got to be able to grip onto the beam. And as soon as one thing misaligns, the entire body misaligns as well. And it's really, really hard to get it back.
Well, she did, though, with the final portion of that routine and sticking the dismount. Back over to Southern Connecticut for a look at the floor exercise.
And here's the senior, Kate Aberger, the one who choreographed not only her own routine here, but also the other girls that we talked about earlier. She's a beautiful dancer. She likes to have a lot of fun in her routines. That's what she's known for. We got some, oh, that was some balletic.
Senior from Plano, Texas. Long way to come.
What a fun routine. And she had a lot of fun with that one. Look at the smile there on her face.
Excitement and the support after the routine for Kate Aberger, the senior from Southern Connecticut.
That was a back half to a front 1.5. Dancing into the corner. One fun thing that Southern Connecticut does is the girl that gets off the apparatus, she ties an imaginary bracelet around the next girl's wrist. They started it this year, kind of passing on good luck, showing that we're all in this together. And that's something that if you catch it while you're watching this meet today, that's what they're doing. They're tying this imaginary bracelet around each other's wrists. Chalking up, getting ready for the beam. And you are able to use chalk on the beam. It helps with any sweat that you might have. It also helps mentally knowing that you have some support there to help you stay on those very narrow 4 inches. See her teammates cheering her on.
A little overview as the University of Bridgeport continues on the uneven bars.
Looks like she's just actually warming up for maybe beam that's to come. Going back to beam. Now this must be Jess Clemens. So the last one was Taylor Jackson. So we moved a little ahead there on the beam. Back handspring layout, step out. Brought up that front foot, but not a fall.
Nope.
Able to save it. Beautiful point. That was split 3/4. She has beautiful toe point. I love her lines right here. Nice straight knees. Full turn. No bobbles. She is beautiful to watch on the beam. Back handspring layout. 1.5 dismount. All smiles for Jessica Clemens.
And the anchor for Springfield. And that dismount, you mentioned just the slight half step forward. Southern Connecticut finishing its floor routine. And another strong performance for the Owls. Southern Connecticut.
High fives to go around for everyone, Mark.
On the floor this year, 48.650, the season high for the Owls. And again, we'll get you those scores, those team scores. First rotation now complete here at the John J. Lee Amphitheater on the campus of Yale University. This is the 4th annual Don Tonry Bulldog Invitational.
So the gymnasts now will have 2 minutes to move over to their next event, and then they have that 4-minute touch warm-up. So we are in between the first and second rotation.
All right, we're going to take a quick break for a moment, but before we do, we want to show you the new lady in charge at the university, at Yale University, for its athletic department. Here is a feature from my colleague Noah Fintz on the new athletic director, Vicki Chung.
Hello, I'm Noah Fintz, and this is Inside Yale Athletics, sponsored by Under Armour. Next year, Yale will have a new athletic director, Vicki Chun, named as the successor to Tom Beckett, becoming the first ever woman to hold that post.
Vicki Chun as Yale University's next Director of Athletics, Physical Education, and Recreation. Everyone I spoke to during the search process was so positive about Vicki.
Vicki Chun is a former athlete, coach, and athletic administrator at Colgate University. She starred on the school's volleyball team, the team she went on to coach.
She's currently the only individual in NCAA Division I history to earn both Player and Coach of the Year in the same conference. Bulldog, welcome to Vicki.
I'm just trying to get over the excitement of having to walk a handsome Dan to the podium, or maybe he was walking me.
Chun may have a strong athletic background, but academics was always most important in her family. Her parents are not exactly well versed in sports. In fact, she says when she worked for the NCAA, her parents told family she worked at the NAACP.
What they may not understand athletics, but they understand academics. And so when I told them that I got a position at Yale, it just blew their mind.
Vicky believes, as I do, that a strong athletics program can help us fulfill Yale's mission, the mission to educate aspiring leaders who serve all sectors of society.
On this day, she was welcomed by Yale staff, including the coaches, all of whom say she should expect a warm embrace from the Yale family.
As you come into this community, you realize how strong this community is, and I think more of for her, it will be comforting for her to realize how strong this community is and how much this community has her back and her support when she does things that she wants to do with the athletic program.
And the more I met people from Yale across the campus, and the way they spoke about Yale athletics, it just got me so excited, and I did everything I could to get this position and be here.
Chun will officially take over the helm when longtime athletic director Tom Beckett retires at the end of this school year.
I have to admit, it is quite humbling to be following in the footsteps of one of Yale's greatest leaders, the longest-serving athletic director in school history and Yale's greatest fan, Tom Beckett.
While she served as the athletic director at Colgate, the athletes there combined for a higher grade point average than the rest of the student body. It's part of the reason she is so highly regarded at a national level.
I look forward to enhancing the success of our programs, celebrating even more Ivy League championships, and always beating Harvard.
Make all the right moves in the brand new Nissan Rogue Sport. Now with Nissan Intelligent Mobility Technologies, like automatic emergency braking that can help you stop safely. Automatic emergency braking now on the Nissan Rogue family. Save up to $10,260 on select models or get 0% for up to 72 months on 13 models. Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics.
Back at the John J. Lee Amphitheater, campus of Yale University, as we continue with the second rotation now for these schools at the 4th annual Don Tonry Bulldog Invitational. We move on and tell you where everybody's going to be. Right now, Yale will be on the bars. Southern Connecticut moves over to the fault. University of Bridgeport will tackle the beam, and Springfield College will do its floor exercises. And now we're still in the warm-up period. And, well, you saw that feature on Vicky Chung, and, you know, we must say a congratulations to Tom Beckett, who has certainly been Yale's, he's known as Yale's most ardent fan, most wonderful supporter. 24 years he will complete in June as the athletic director here at Yale University, and he will be retiring after leading this athletic program for the last 24 years, although retiring but still to be involved. And I know Vicky Chung is excited to be able to take over, yet also work a lot with Tom Beckett. We've got some scores now from the first rotation. And leading the way through one rotation, the University of Bridgeport, its beam score 48.90. Yale second overall right now after a 48.375 on the vault. Third place from its floor competition, Southern Connecticut State at 48.1. And right now in fourth, Springfield College, after competing on the beam and coming in with 46.6 points. So right now leading the way, the University of Bridgeport, the Purple Knights, with a little more than half a point lead on Yale.
The good thing for Springfield right now is that they're done with the beam. That's the intimidating event. You're done with that. Now the rest of the four events, you're able to chip away at that deficit, try to bring yourself back up into that second or third place. It's going to be hard to catch up to Bridgeport because they have already started to extend themselves from the rest of the group, and they come in with a lot of energy, a lot of experience, and Bridgeport's actually a team who is going to compete tomorrow as well. It's something that Coach Knox told me was important for them. They weren't going to pass up this opportunity to come and compete at Yale for the Don Tonry Invitational, because for him, which we'll get into in just a second, Don Tonry was a very influential person into his gymnastics career. But being able to have back-to-back competition days gives his team the experience of competing day after day, which will happen eventually when they move on to their championships and they have to compete 3 days in a row.
I want to give you some vault scores for the Yale Bulldogs. Leading the way, three ladies tied for first. Alyssa Firth, JC Baldovino, and Rebecca Chung, all with 9.7 average scores off of their 2 vaults. So those 3 with 9.7 leading the way in the first rotation for Yale. You should see Southern Connecticut now getting set for its turn on the vault. We've got a little less than 30 seconds remaining before warm-ups are officially over and the competition will begin. Looks like, now the 4-minute touch begins. So we have some significant time to talk about what we're going to see.
And speaking about Coach Brian Knox for the Purple Knights, I just mentioned how important this meet was for him with Don Tonry, because get this, Coach Knox didn't start gymnastics until he was a sophomore in high school. That is extremely, extremely late in the sport of gymnastics, and just a few years later, he was able to earn himself a spot on the men's national team. Since then, he actually was an assistant coach at SCSU, where he was a member of their male gymnastics program, and he got their team to the NCAA regionals in 2013. So a couple years back, he was able to get his team down to Gainesville, Florida for NCAA regionals. He's had a lot of success at Bridgeport. He's also coached at Yale, and he's coached as an assistant under Barbara Tonry, and he's coached the women's national team for a couple of years. So he has a lot of experience. But again, this meet was so special to him because he said that when he was going through that process of trying to play catch up as an athlete himself in the sport of gymnastics, the publications that Don Tonry put forth with all the illustrations breaking down gymnastics, it was like watching a video to him. Back before they had YouTube and they couldn't just type in exactly what they were looking for, and it was just a click of the button away, he was able to use those publications as a resource, as a tool to catch up, and as a video really to propel his own gymnastics career back in the day.
Really an interesting story, and so is the story of Barbara Tonry, who is in her 46th year as the head coach at Yale, the only head coach that Yale women's gymnastics has ever known, and certainly well known as a gymnastics coach, also known as the wife of the late man whose this tournament is named after, Don Tonry, and she's been here, as we talked about, Barbara, for 46 years, 14 Ivy League championships for the Yale Bulldogs. She's been a Coach of the Year, member of the U.S. Gymnastics Federation Hall of Fame, also with a connection to Southern Connecticut State, and that she has her master's degree from Southern Connecticut.
Seems like everyone's had some type of connection here to Southern Connecticut in one way or another.
Yes, it's a really small community. You were talking to Coach Knox before the meet started. Gymnastics, a small community when you get right down to it, and everybody seems to know everybody, and they work well together, which is key. There's competition, but to enhance the sport and the popularity of it, and what a nice crowd today here at the John J. Lee Amphitheater at Yale. A cold Saturday afternoon, but yet large vocal crowd.
They've been piling on in. They kind of snuck up on us, Mark. They weren't here a couple of minutes ago. I feel like every time I look up, there's a few more bodies here in the room. But that's exciting. That's what a gymnastics meet is about. These girls come in here to have fun. They've been competing at the level 9 or level 10 club level for many years before coming to the collegiate level, and they're able to bring that same skill set into college, which is important because all they have to do now is just fine-tune those skills. They're not looking to upgrade. They're not looking to learn new skills. They're looking to fine-tune the skills that they've already learned in high school.
Well, we get set for the next rotation. We talk about Yale being on the uneven bars, and they will start with the same leadoff as they had on the vault. That will be Emma Firmstone. Emma, the sophomore from Honesdale, Pennsylvania.
Now, Emma is a solid person a solid athlete on the uneven bars, but she's not able to score the highest out of everyone on the Yale team. Her start value is not quite at a 10, and that's why she's the leadoff. She's the leadoff because you can count on her to hit. She's reliable, and she's able to set the tone. She might not get the biggest score for the Bulldogs, but she's able to get them going on the uneven bars.
And we are moments away from the start on the bars for Emma. She will be followed by Jade Buford, then Roxanne Trachtenberg, J.C. Baldovino, Megan Ryan, and Jessica Wong. And already up on the beam for the University of Bridgeport, that's Delaney Cahill.
There's that sideward dance element on the beam, a required element. Moving to her jump sequence, switch jump to a split jump. Nice connection. Full turn. Stuck like a pro. Showing off her confidence here on the beam. Side aerial, full in, dismount. Very difficult dismount off the edge of the beam.
Delaney Cahill starting things off for the University of Bridgeport on the balance beam. The Purple Knights with a slim lead after one rotation. We go back over to the bars.
There's Emma Firmstone.
Yale's lead off for the first two rotations.
Now watch this dismount, a very fun dismount. It's a toe on front tuck. You won't see that in this meet. Very fun dismount. She said it's one of her favorites, and that's why she's competing it here today.
And she hit it quite nicely. Watch it one more time, Allison.
Able to open up her hips, find the landing, small step forward. Overall, great bar set by Emma Firmstone.
So Emma Firmstone starts things off for the Bulldogs on the beam. The vault right now for Southern Connecticut. And the vault for SCSU. I believe that was Milena Ristenblatt. And now we're looking at Katie Borsellino.
And there seems to be some miscommunication there on the vault. They're waving no to whatever mats are being set up behind it. Maybe a little bit of confusion on
Southern head coach Jerry Nelson
needed.
right over there. You see his hands on the vault right there to get things set up properly.
And he's in his 14th year as the head coach at Southern. He's got 3 ECAC championships under his belt, and he was the National Coach of the Year back in 2017. Back onto the beam for Bridgeport.
And Bridgeport with the competitor up on the beam, and that's Kelsey Campbell.
Nice connection to that back tuck beat jump. Some nice passe dance moves. You can see her focus bodying the end of the beam. That's where your focus has to be. You can't look at the distractions. You have to spot the very edge of the beam. Nice jump sequence.
And odds are she'll hit the landing. Kelsey from Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Full turn. All she should have left is her dismount. So round off, back 1.5. Took her second on that dismount.
Coming forward, but pretty impressive. On the beam, Kelsey Campbell for the University of Bridgeport. We look at, we go over now to the bar And a dismount for
Jade Buford. That was a double back, couple steps. She can do better. I've seen her do better in practice. I saw her do better in her warm-ups. But great effort.
And for the pride of Springfield College, they're going through the floor. Right now we'll swing it on over to the vault. And up on the vault for Southern,
And that was a
Kaylin Dawkins.
That was a Yuchenko full. Yuchenko layout, pardon me. Small step back. So that'll be anywhere from a 1 to 3/10 deduction on the step back.
And now back to the beam. For Yale.
Here's Roxanne Trachtenberg.
Yep.
She has the ability to get a big score on this event. Straddle up to handstand. Full turn. You want that full turn right on top of the bar. Nice piked Jaeger. Makes that transition with a bail down to the low bar. Jump to the high bar, straddle up. Preparing for that dismount. And it'll be a double leg. Stuck landing. She was able to zero in just like a radar on that landing. Beautiful finish.
Roxanne Trachtenberg, the junior from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Here's the dismount again, Allison.
Look how she opened up that hips. They piked a little bit on her second rotation, but that first rotation, she had those hips completely opened up. Her legs came apart just a bit in her double layout. So that will be a little bit of a deduction as well as with that pike down, but the stick is the most important, right, Mark? Because it's the last thing the judges see, and it's the most obvious.
Well, you're absolutely right. And sticking the landing for Bridgeport on the beam, I believe Gabrielle Kistner finishing her routine. We'll catch the end of it, Allison.
That was a 1.5, back 1.5, small hop forward, able to control it and not get 2 hops. That type of control comes from experience. And here's JC Baldovino getting ready on the bars for the Bulldogs.
JC's the 4th competitor for Yale on the uneven bars. The sophomore from Atherton, California.
And she's going to start off this routine with a big same bar release move. It's going to be a blind turn right here to a piked Jaeger. Very difficult move as she makes her way down to the low bar with a shoot over. Back up to the high bar. Full turn for a double back. Stuck. Might have
Big
dropped her head back a
smile.
little too much to lose her footing a little bit, but
That
big
was
smile.
out of excitement. She was thrilled with her dismount.
She was able to get above the bar on that dismount, which is something that the judges are looking for. You want your release to happen above that high bar. Also, the main thing I saw in her routine were her handstands. She had very solid form in the air. Not all of them were quite 180 right on top of that bar, but very, very solid routine.
JC Baldovino, who had a 9.7 in the vault, one of 3 Bulldogs to score 9.7 in the vault, with a strong performance on the bars as we get a glimpse of what's going on with the Owls of Southern Connecticut over on the vault, and now back to the beam for Bridgeport. And a look at, I believe, Kathryn Doran.
Front aerial to a split jump to a beat jump, 3 connections right there. Back handspring, step out, layout, step out. No bobbles on that skill. Switch leap to a split jump. Using every muscle in her body to keep from using any bobbles. Side aerial. Small drop of the shoulder on that landing. Won't be a big deduction.
You might have seen in the background a bit of a tumble off the vault for one of the Owls of Southern Connecticut.
Back 1.5. Hop out to the right side. Not a bad routine.
Now,
She
how
should
much
post a
of
pretty
a,
good score.
discount?
Discount.
A deduction on the dismount off the beam, would that be that's more of that's a large. Let's go back and check out off the bars.
That was Megan Ryan, the senior, with a double A dismount. Couple hops back. She's only competing on the uneven bars for the Bulldogs. And she always posts a pretty nice score. I believe her career high on the uneven bars is a 9.875. Happened last year, and this year her season high so far has been a 9.750. So very high scores. And for the Yale, she's actually a history of science, medicine, and public health major. That was Meg Ryan that we just saw on the bars.
All right, look at here's the vault again that we saw moments ago. For Southern Connecticut.
Layout. Too much rotation. With that rotation, she landed on her heels.
Gotta say, she covered nicely. She was smooth out of the tumble.
Believe it or not, you can still get a pretty big score, even with a fall like that, based off your height, your form in the air, and your block off the table.
Here's the senior from Chino Hills, Jessica Wong.
Jessica Wong was an elite athlete, which means that she competed above a level 10 in the club level. Nice bail to a handstand to the low bar. She'll make her way back up to the high bar, and she will have a full-in dismount if she chooses to compete it here today. Yes, the full-in dismount. Hop backwards, not a big deduction. Nice job by Jessica Wong.
Jessica Wong for the Bulldogs of Yale. Her first moment of competition here at the Tonry Invitational. And it's a pretty good one. And back over to the floor for Springfield College. I believe they are a little bit behind. Well, the routines are longer. This might be Kelsey Campbell. No, actually, Tabitha Schwab, I should say, from Springfield.
We caught the tail end of her routine. Let's see what we missed. We're at a full front tuck, landing short. Back to the bars now. Here is Alyssa Firth. A bail to the low bar. Not quite a handstand there. Double back. Small hop forward. She's a freshman. She still has a lot of room to grow. Again, she didn't compete the first two meets of the season for Yale. So she's fresh on the competition floor, and she's been working real hard in practices.
Solid dismount. We're going to go back over to the balance beam.
This should be Maya Reimers on the beam.
Reimers, sophomore from New York City, trained in Manhattan. Chelsea Piers is her gym, an all-around performer for the Purple Knights.
This season so far, she's also been the ECAC Division II Gymnast of the Week twice. And she can post big scores on all four events. But going back to the floor now, here's Springfield.
I believe Jessica Clemens, but don't hold me to it.
I won't. Back handspring double back. Landed a tad short. Her chest was a little low on that landing. But I love the floor. It's my favorite event out of all four because you're really able to see the gymnast personality on the floor, their smiles, their attitude, all of that. And the tumbling is extremely fun to watch, Mark.
Speaking of tumbling,
that was a front pike, front half to a split jump.
interesting to see the difference in the music that the competitors choose. Some a little more upbeat, some a little more on the classical side.
Well, they say you can tell a lot about a person by what their shoes, but gymnasts don't wear shoes, so you can tell a lot about a gymnast by their floor music.
A lot of power I would expect coming up in this pass.
We've got a front handspring, front full, front tuck for the finish. As she'll salute her judges and make her way off the floor to get all those high fives you look forward to right after you compete.
Springfield College. Check out back on the beam. Reimers with the dismount.
And that's what you missed. A back 1.5 to a stuck landing, able to post those big scores for the Purple Knights.
Maya Reimers there on the beam and back to
a double back. That's where that chest was low. Didn't get the full rotation she needed to land straight up. Front layout, front half to a split jump.
And again, we believe Jessica Clemens.
Gymnasts, Mark, we were talking about this. They need to wear numbers or names on the back of their leotards, just like they do internationally, because there's so many of them, and they all look so beautiful, and you need to make sure that you're giving the right girl the credit that she deserves. So this is Tally. Tally Twomey. You know how I know, Mark?
I was just going to play along. How do you know?
I hear all of her teammates cheering, Tally,
Oh.
Tally. That's how I know.
All right, the vault has been completed.
Big double back. First pass landed short. That'll hurt the shins a little bit. Some unneeded pressure there. But again, she's the anchor here for Springfield. So she's looking to get a big score for the Pride. Preparing for that second pass. Front full, front tuck. Connecting a jump out of it. Sometimes they connect that jump at the end of a tumbling sequence to help with the control. If they have too much momentum, they'll add that jump as a connection to, again, help tone it down and find the stick. Having some fun with her routine.
Setting up for another pass.
Our third and final one. It'll be a front 1.5 to a split jump.
That from Springfield, Tally Twomey from Springfield College. The Pride. Look at that pass one more time.
The double back, that was her first pass where she landed just a little bit short. Her second pass, front full to a front tuck to a jump. And her third and final pass, the front 1.5 to a split jump. As she'll dance into her final routine, and you'll see here, it looks like just about every rotation has finished up for the second round.
Yes, it is complete. All right, as we prepare for the next rotation, rotation number 3 of our meet, we want to introduce you once again, my colleague Noah Fins from Inside Yale Athletics with a feature on Carlin Hudson as the soccer player from Yale gets ready for a professional career. Noah?
A few of us moved here, but now...
Hello, I'm Noah Fins, and this is Inside Yale Athletics, sponsored by Under Armour. It's hardly soccer season, yet here we are at Reese Stadium, where Carlin Hudson, a Yale senior, is working hard. That's because she has the rare opportunity to play soccer at the professional level.
2018 NWSL College Draft, the North Carolina Courage select Carlin Hudson from Yale University.
With that announcement, Carlin Hudson becomes Yale's first ever women's soccer player to be drafted by a pro team.
Hard-nosed defender, just physical, gets stuck in, gets in.
Feels good to be able to say that, and it's definitely special. I never thought I would hear my name in that type of setting, saying they would select Carlin Hudson, so I was kind of shell-shocked, but super excited.
It's rare for a defender from an Ivy League school to be drafted. And the story is even more impressive considering Hudson wasn't the most recruited player out of high school. Oh, she was a very good youth player and stood out at the high school level, but it was looking like she wasn't even going to get an opportunity to play at the next level.
I thought that I just wasn't going to be playing soccer in college, and I was kind of okay with that at that point in my life. It was something that I had accepted because of the way that things had panned out.
But Yale offered her a recruited walk-on position, and she made the best of it.
But she's so determined. She's one of the most determined players I've ever coached.
When given her chance to play her freshman year, she impressed and never lost that starting role, all the while earning a reputation as a shutdown defender.
I asked her to play man-to-man, which you can't find players today to try to do that, to play somebody man-to-man. And she played man-to-man against Mitch Purse, who was the best player in the league for 4 years at Harvard, who's on a full national team now. We asked her to man-mark Mitch Purse for the entire game, and she did it, and that was one of the only games in that career of hers at Harvard that Harvard didn't score an Ivy League game.
And now she gets a chance to make her mark with the pros. So every day she continues the hard work that got her to this point. She may have been drafted, but now she has to earn a spot on the team.
You know, coming into Yale, I wasn't supposed to be anybody and made like a pretty good career out of my time here. It's not necessarily that I'm going in with a chip on my shoulder, but it's going in knowing that I have so much to prove.
When she gets to training camp, she'll have 5 weeks to impress the coaches and earn a contract. 5 weeks competing with and against the best players in the world, the same players who are playing on the U.S. national team.
You know, they're like my idols, and it's crazy, and I'm always watching them, talking about how great it must be to beat them and how great at soccer they are. And then last night I watched them play Denmark and realized that 3 of the people on that team were going to be my future teammates. I never would have anticipated either like competing for a spot against somebody like that or actually having to defend someone of that caliber.
Her coach says if anyone can do it, it's her. She came into Yale a good but relatively unheralded player who turned herself into the team captain and a player opponents fear.
This is a prime example to show you that you can come in an Ivy League environment and develop as a player good enough to play in the professional ranks afterwards and still have your Yale degree.
It is really exciting that I've been able to accomplish so much as someone who, you know, on paper wasn't supposed to at all. And so I'm really glad that I find myself in this position right now.
The running of the Bulldogs? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Aaliyah saved by switching to Geico.
The Ivy League. It's where traditions are born.
Let's go!
And last March, we made history. be a part of Ivy Madness.
Tournament championship goes to the Penn Quakers.
Princeton Tigers are going to the NCAA tournament.
Visit the Shops at Yale in historic downtown New Haven, where shopping is a personal pleasure and your favorite brands are easy to find. Where award-winning restaurants are around every corner and parking is always easy. Join visitors from all over the region and explore more than 60 shops and restaurants, plus world-renowned museums, galleries, and theaters. For more information, visit theshopsatyale.com.
A few of us moved here, but now we are many. We grew up in this city, made our name in this city. But there's more we can do. Us in this city. There's strength in us both, grit in us both, determination in us both. It's not always pretty, the way we both win, but the world knows better than to count us out. Because no matter the challenge, we both rise. So what would happen if we rose up together, us in this city, trusted in each other and moved forward as one, us in this city? So there was no us in this city. There was just we. Imagine what we are capable of, what we can do when we set our minds to it, what incredible things we can accomplish. Imagine what happens when we decide we will.
All right, welcome back on the campus of Yale at the John J. Lee Amphitheater after 2 rotations through at the Don Tonry Invitational. Bridgeport with that 0.5 of a point lead, 97.250 to 96.7 for Yale. Springfield and Southern Connecticut Southern in third right now, 96 points. Springfield with 94.1 points through through half of the rotation, the complete 4 apparatus rotation. Mark Robbins, Allison Gaskins with you and the great crew of the Ivy League Network as we get set for rotation number 3. Let's get you set on where everybody is. University of Bridgeport will be on the floor. Springfield on the vault. Southern Connecticut on the bars. The balance beam is where you'll find the Yale Bulldogs. We go and get started with activity on the balance beam. And for Yale, up on the beam is Charlotte Cooperman. Our first look at Charlotte.
We haven't seen Charlotte since the first meet of the season where she did a no hands beam routine. She's going to do the same thing here today. She won't use her hands. There's a front aerial back tuck connection.
Yeah, you'll notice surgery. She has her left hand and wrist taped up heavily. She had surgery for a thumb ligament and finger injury.
That happened right before she came back to Yale after a break at her club. She was practicing.
From Southborough, Massachusetts.
Here's her full turn. Again, she won't touch that beam with her left hand, or her right, for that matter. Front aerial, beat jump. Gainer dismount, right off the edge of the beam. Everyone is so happy for her because she has been itching to get back out there on the beam and compete. She was their lead off during that first meet. And here she is again. I know she is so excited to get back out there, and what a solid routine.
Yeah, Charlotte Cooperman for the Yale Bulldogs, the leadoff for Yale on the beam. Here's a look at the Springfield vault. The leadoff for Springfield on the vault is Tabitha Schwab. Now over on the bars, Southern Connecticut. We're looking at, I believe this is Jackie Kuchar.
I'm not sure if we missed their first bar routine, but we're getting ready to go. All chalked up. She's got
a
that
heavy knee brace on the left knee.
And that won't affect you on the bars until the dismount, but bars are very light on the legs, so it's okay to manage a little bit of an injury. Taking a look at the floor for the Knights, Purple Knights.
And wrapping up, I believe that's the first music I've heard. So on the floor for the University of Bridgeport, Kathryn Doran.
Let's get a look at what just went down on vault.
For Springfield.
Yuchenko layout. Nice landing. Little step back, not bad. She got some nice height off that vault.
And on the beam right now for Yale is Kiara Elaine, the junior out of Houston.
Kiara has a lot of personality, and she'll show it later on during her floor exercise. But she'll give you a little tease here on the beam. Switch side. She'll have one more jump sequence before her dismount. Here's a beat jump to a split full. Solid.
Here comes the dismount.
That's all she has left. You gotta keep your focus all the way to the last second. It'll be a front full. Keeps that chest lifted. You'll see those pearly white teeth smile on her face for the dismount.
One more time in slow motion. What do you like about it?
I like her form in the air. Her feet came apart a little bit there at the edge, and she didn't get as much height as I've seen her get before. But I liked her confidence in her form in the air.
Kiara Elaine, junior for Yale, as we go over to the floor exercise for the University of Bridgeport. And again, it's the Purple Knights with a slight lead, about a half a point.
But right before she starts, let's take a look at what went down on the vault. That was a front handspring on to a pike off.
On the floor, Kelsey Campbell for the University of Bridgeport.
Big double back to start off her routine.
This is the senior from Las Vegas.
Nice choice of music. That'll get the crowd going. Preparing for her second tumbling pass. It'll be a front full front tuck.
Pretty high degree of difficulty, I would think.
And she didn't even need all the room left for her. She only used a couple steps to get into that tumbling pass, leaving herself a ton of extra padding on the floor. And that just shows you the power that she has as a tumbler. You don't need all those extra steps to get your momentum up. That was a double full. Nice job. Very solid.
Kelsey Campbell
routine
for the University of Bridgeport. An outstanding routine on the floor. Gabrielle Kistner will follow her. Let's go back to the vault. A very high
Yuchenko layout.
Yes. Springfield doing its work in this rotation on the vault. Back over to the floor as we see Gabriella Kistner, and back over to the beam for Jessica Wong, and the junior from Chino Hills. Here's her dismount.
And it's nice to see her back on the beam. After the first meet of the season, she injured her ankle on her dismount, so she has taken a step back from the beam, rehabbed it a bit, only competed bars, but here she is back on the beam, looking strong.
It's got to be hard to get back on that beam when you suffer a significant injury, and it's such a difficult performance. We're looking at
Bridgeport getting ready on the floor.
Right, Nina Whitaker, the third member of the Purple Knights to perform. Again, there's 6 on every apparatus. If you're new to gymnastics, 6 competitors take their turn on every apparatus. The top 5 scores are kept
We just
for
saw
the team total.
We just saw front handspring, front tuck on the vault table. A little bit of a different entry than what we have been seeing today. We've been seeing a lot of Yuchenkos, which is a front handspring half turn onto the vault. But there you just saw the straight front handspring to a front tuck.
Nina Whitaker for the University of Bridgeport, the sophomore from Salem, New Hampshire. A specialist of the week in the ECAC Division II level and a coach's choice as well a week ago.
Coming back to the bars, though, for Southern Connecticut. Getting ready for her dismount. And it'll be a double A, a little pike on that landing, but that's Tiffany, one of the senior captains.
Jerry Nelson there as well, her head coach, watching.
And there's no deduction for Coach Nelson standing right there. However, if he does touch her or tap her, then there is a 1/10 deduction for that.
Jade Buford now up on the beam from the sophomore from Texas.
She has a very difficult beam routine. We might have missed her side summy. A very difficult move. Here she is for her dismount. It'll be a front full.
Nailed it.
And if we have her side summy from the middle of her routine, I would love to show it. If not, it's okay. Nice full. Look at that positioning in the air. You couldn't put anything through her legs. They were stuck together like glue. She was able to open up and find her landing as well.
Nina Whitaker on the floor for Bridgeport.
Deep breath before the first tumbling pass. A back 1.5 front layout.
With room to spare.
Excuse me, that was her third tumbling pass. We missed the first 2, but finished very strong on the floor exercise.
Nina Whitaker for the University of Bridgeport. The third floor participant for the Purple Knights. We're on to the bars for Southern Connecticut.
Right in time for the dismount. Another half turn on top of the bar for a double back. She got some nice height on that dismount. She was able to release right in time to get above that high bar. Able to open up for the finish small step. But from what I could tell, her handstands looked great. Very solid, tight tuck formation right there. Solid routine.
Southern Connecticut trying to maintain or maybe increase its slight advantage of a half a point coming into this rotation.
Here's Emma Firmstone, the sophomore all-arounder for the Bulldogs.
Now she has been the leadoff in the previous 2 rotations. Now coming in here in the 5th spot for Yale out of 6 on the beam.
Working through the levels on her mount, getting that full turn out of the way early on. Looking solid. Back handspring, step out, layout, step out. You saw her face. It's like she tightened her face muscles to hold everything right there on the beam. Switch leap to a straddle 3/4. And you can see she's frustrated with herself.
Again, 30 seconds is the limit to get back on. You have 30 seconds, and she didn't take much time.
And beam has been a huge focus for the Bulldogs coming into this meet. It's an event that they've struggled on so far in the season. They've practiced a lot during their practices on really emphasizing that they're a team. She'll have that front back 1.5 rather off the end of the beam for her dismount. But that's something that Yale's been focusing on. They call it beam team, and there's 4 or 5 of them during practice in a rotation together. They have to run through their entire beam routine. As soon as one falls off, they all have to restart over.
Finishing up with her routine on the bars for Southern Connecticut.
That was Kate Aberger, one of the captains, one of the seniors.
She's leading the way for them in scoring along with Alex Avendano, both at 9.725 through 2 rotations. Now on the floor for the Purple Knights, Gabrielle Kistner finishing her routine.
All the hugs. And also for Bridgeport, they come in with a lot of energy and talking to their head coach, Brian Knox. He was saying that they don't care if they get 2nd, 3rd, 4th place in the meet today. They're trying to beat their own score. So they want the highest score of the season for their team. They don't care about the placement because they're trying to increase that score, because at the end of it, they're trying to make it to regionals, NCAA regionals, and that's all based on a score basis. So the top 36 programs get to go to regionals, and that's the goal of the Purple Knights. But back on beam, here's JC Baldovino.
JC Baldovino, 9.7 on the vault, 9.8 on the bars.
Gorgeous back handspring step out, layout, step out we just saw. Very difficult jump you just saw there. That was a switch ring as she used that back leg to tap just the back of her head, connected to a C-zone. And after her full turn, you're gonna see another connection of 2 skills and a front aerial to wolf jump. She didn't connect that wolf jump. She's connected it in practice and in previous meets, so she chose to leave it out today. And here's that dismount, gainer full off the end, off the side of the beam. You can feel the energy.
Landing. Yes.
Yes, you can feel the energy right here. They're so close to us, and they're all so happy and excited for JC.
Well, JC finishing up as the anchor here on the beam. JC Baldovino. And then over on, finishing up on the uneven bars, Southern Connecticut. And now on the floor for Bridgeport, I believe it's Kathryn Doran.
Kelly Acock.
Excuse me, Kelly Acock.
There we go. Dancing into the corner. Team cheering her on the sidelines. Back 1.5 front pike. Front full. Front 1.5. I believe she has just 1 tumbling pass to go. Nope, she's all done. She
The
got those
junior
3
from
in.
Locust Grove, Georgia, Kelly Acock.
Take a look at that back 1.5 to a front pike. A little weird on the landing there. And then here's her front 1.5. That step back's okay.
That was her first appearance in this meet. Back over on the beam for Yale.
Alyssa Firth. She's a freshman. Here's a front aerial to wolf jump. Did not connect the wolf jump. Looks like Yale is leaving out a couple of these connections. There it is. Wolf jump, beat jump. switch leap, switch half to a beat jump, keeping her chest lifted, finding that balance on the beam, finding the end of the beam with her left toes, getting set for that dismount. There'll be a back 1.5. She has so much room to grow. As a freshman, she's already putting up solid routine. She's hitting 4 for 4. She's doing her job for the Bulldogs. I'm excited to see where she goes next year.
Back to the floor for Maya Reimers. And
what a big first pass. I hope we get to see that at the end again. That was a full-in first pass. Mark, you know this song?
Houdini is the rapper. Yeah.
Back 1.5 front pike for her second pass. Wolf turn, split full, which is a popa. That's what it's called. Stag jump down to the floor.
She'll dance over into that corner for a third pass.
So sneaky about the way they make their way over there into the corners.
See if she finishes with a flurry.
Back pike, double pike. Very high tumbling passes on that routine.
Maya Reimers from the University of Bridgeport, a sophomore from New York City. Again, look at that final pass.
That was that full-in first pass. She got so much height, she was able to complete her rotation, lost her form a tad in the air, but was able to pull it together. There it is for the double pike, her third and final pass. Very, very big, difficult pass to put third. You got to keep your energy and your momentum up, your stamina. And that builds throughout the competition season because, again, remember, Bridgeport's going on to compete again tomorrow in a quad meet. And that will be against Penn, Temple.
And we're going to see it. We're going to see I believe this is an exhibition performance right now.
So you're allowed
an unusual starting position.
Exhibitions, they don't count at all to the final score. If there's extra time, they allow an exhibition. But you have to ask for them beforehand, so the time is allotted for them. It gives maybe people the opportunity to compete who don't always get that opportunity to be in a competition setting, get a score, find out where your routine is ranking. Back 1.5 front tuck. Nice stance set.
In judges scoring is the dance set.
Yes.
30%, 40, 50% of the
It's an
total
element, so it's a deduction if you don't do it. So it's part of the start value. So if you're off musicality, that's a deduction if you're off your music. If you are not using the different levels, if you're not making your way down to the ground and all the way back up, that's a deduction. If you're not utilizing the entire floor, it's also a deduction. So you have to make it your way into each corner, and you have to make the floor, make use of the floor in all areas.
So this exhibition will wrap up the third rotation for Bridgeport, Springfield, Southern Connecticut, and of course the Yale Bulldogs. We'll move in to the final rotation of this meet. The Don Tonry Bulldog Invitational, the 4th annual, has one more rotation. We'll get you updated on team scores after 3 rotations in just a moment. Want to now show you another feature from the highly popular Inside Yale Athletics. My colleague Noah Fins with the women's basketball team, and well, if you don't feel well, some of these players might be who you want to see in the future. Noah?
Hello, I'm Noah Fins for Inside Yale Athletics, sponsored by Under Armour. The women's basketball team is led by 3 seniors with something in common. They're all pre-med majors.
I tell these guys all the time, they're going to be my doctors one day.
They are well on their way. The 3 seniors, Jen Berkowitz, Marianne Santucci, and Tamara Simpson, have all somehow found a way to play high-level Division I sports while getting through one of the more demanding majors at one of the world's most demanding schools.
We've kind of teamed up since freshman year and did the path together, and having that person to say, hey, we got this, let's get to the library, let's study, let's talk it through.
Hello, I'm Noah Fins for Inside Yale Athletics, sponsored by Under Armour. The women's basketball team is led by 3 seniors with something in common. They're all pre-med majors.
I tell these guys all the time, they're going to be my doctors one day.
They are well on their way. The 3 seniors, Jen Berkowitz, Marianne Santucci, and Tamara Simpson, have all somehow found a way to play high-level Division I sports while getting through one of the more demanding majors at one of the world's most demanding schools.
We've kind of teamed up since freshman year and did the path together, and having that person to say, hey, we got this, let's get to the library, let's study, let's talk it through.
We are in some of the same classes, and you always have a study partner or a lab partner, you know, so you're never going to a class like not knowing who's in it, because you have a teammate that you're really close with who is going through the trenches with you. So I really appreciate having those guys.
They've not only had each other, but a system that encourages academic success above everything else, rare in big-time college athletics.
Huge thing that drew me here was that just the ability to push myself so far on the basketball court, but also in the classroom, and actually make it possible. You know, the coaches and this whole school makes it possible to do that.
I'm going to go review for those of you who weren't at practice yesterday. At Yale, it's academics are #1 at all time. This is not a win at all costs environment. It's an environment that we all strive to operate in championship culture and be a champion in the way that we do everything, but it's never going to be at the cost of an academic requirement or something that's going to further our players' education.
They're all planning to take the medical school entrance exam this summer to, at some point, return to the rigors of intense study, something by now they've perfected considering their academic and athletic responsibilities now.
Time management's big, so you know, any little gap in the day, we gotta utilize it.
That means you're doing homework in the hotel, that's what's gonna happen. I remember my freshman year, Marianne and I took a chemistry exam at Dartmouth right before we were watching film and going to practice. So it's just, you get it done, and I think that's just the culture of the Ivy League student athlete, so nothing new.
Coach Guth says she marvels at how the athletes can be such dedicated students, yet also be all in when it comes to basketball.
You gotta care and lock in. To think I've got 3 seniors that are coming from lab where they're prepping themselves to be doctors, and I'm getting on them about being in a stance and getting over to help defense, and they're listening and they're gravitating towards it.
You have days where your body's saying no, but mentally you got to push through that last sprint, you got to make it. And it's not just for yourself, it's for your team. So if you miss that sprint and your whole team's running again, once we step over the line, it's basketball.
I don't think you can look at many places across the country that have that type of special player that you're getting to work with on a daily basis. Go work on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go work!
Visit the Shops at Yale in historic downtown New Haven, where shopping is a personal pleasure and your favorite brands are easy to find. Where award-winning restaurants are around every corner and parking is always easy. Join visitors from all over the region and explore more than 60 shops and restaurants, plus world-renowned museums, galleries, and theaters. For more information, visit theshopsatyale.com.
My name is Shayna Schneider, and I'm going to show you how to rack up 10,000 steps a day while exploring new destinations. Next stop, New Haven, Connecticut. As a Yale graduate and New Haven resident, I love showing people around the city, and I think the best way to see it is on foot. Plus, walking is a great way to exercise. Now, if you'd like this walking route or to take a guided 10,000 step tour, visit my website at fitstylebysHayna.com.
I wasn't born fast. It's taken 27 years of sore muscles, bruised knees, and a few close shaves. Speed is my mindset, my drive, my determination, the one goal I never stop chasing. There's awesome inside everyone, but it's up to you to unleash it.
A few of us moved here, but now we are many. We grew up in this city, made our name in this city. But there's more we can do. Us in this city. There's strength in us both, grit in us both, determination in us both. It's not always pretty, the way we both win, but the world knows better than to count us out. Because no matter the challenge, we both rise. So what would happen if we rose up together, us in this city, trusted in each other and moved forward as one, us in this city? So there was no us in this city. There was just we. Imagine what we are capable of, what we can do when we set our minds to it, what incredible things we can accomplish. Imagine what happens when we decide we will.
The Ivy League. It's where traditions are born.
Let's go!
And last March, we made history. Come be a part of Ivy Madness.
Tournament championship goes to the Penn Quakers.
Princeton Tigers are going to the NCAA tournament.
Back at Yale, John J. Lee Amphitheater is the site for the 4th annual Don Tonry Bulldog Invitational. Through 3 rotations, look at what Yale has done. They have come back and caught Bridgeport. They're in a dead tie, 145.775 for first. SCSU, Southern Connecticut, second, going into the balance beam, and Springfield in 4th right now. And Allison coming off the beam. We talked about it during their performance. Yale had been working, had been eyeing on a better performance on that apparatus. I think they came through with, they nailed their dismount, so to speak.
Surprising that it came for the Bulldogs on beam, since that was where they were struggling. But 4 out of the 6 competitors for Yale reached their career highs today on beam. Charlotte Cooperman with a 9.75, Kiara with a 9.75 as well. Also Jade Buford with a 9.875, and finally the freshman JC Baldovino with a 9.925. Huge scores by the Bulldogs on beam.
On beam right now, Southern Connecticut.
That was a side aerial. No bobbles, no movement.
Kaylin Dawkins.
One of their junior captains. She had a gainer off the end. All smiles
From
for the junior.
Bridgeton, New Jersey. And a solid start on the beam for the Owls of Southern Connecticut, trying to make up a couple of points and overtake Yale and Bridgeport. This the final rotation as we go back to the vault, where UB finds itself in its leadoff on the vault for Bridgeport. and that is Brianna Zine.
Here's Maya Reimers following on the vault. For Yuchenko full.
Great height, I thought.
Nice block off the table. That push out of her shoulders.
Came
Small
off
hop.
a little bit to the side, but Maya Reimers with a solid performance. Nina Whitaker will be up next. Yale on the floor for its first competitor. The Bulldogs lead off on the floor is Alyssa Firth.
We lost her here on our screen, but she just had a nice final tumbling pass, which was a front 1.5. If we get a chance to check that out, you'll see what I was talking about. But on beam.
Coming up now, right, for Southern Connecticut. On the beam is Isabella Antonigelli.
Looks like we'll go back to floor. Oh, here we are. That was a straddle half. Wolf jump front tuck. Couldn't find that footing. I couldn't tell if her chest was a little low. Our screen glitched out just a second on that.
You can see in the background the vault continuing for Bridgeport. Nina Whitaker went flying by.
Back handspring step out, back tuck. Deep breath on that finish.
Dismount coming.
Right on the edge of the beam. Double back, double full off the beam.
Let's go back to that vault. There's Nina Whitaker.
A front handspring, front pike. She had too much momentum. She wasn't able to stop herself. That's where all those steps forward came from. But here is Kiera Alain on the floor. You have to watch this routine, Mark. It is one of my absolute favorites. Starting off with a big double back. The middle of this routine, that's the part I'm talking about. You'll know when you see it. Setting herself up for a front layout, front full. Here it is.
Little Michael Jackson move.
Little MJ. She has fun with this routine.
Can she wear a glove if she wanted?
I don't see why not.
Just one.
Third and final pass. She's had some struggles on this pass, which kept her out of the competition last meet. But here it is. It's going to be a double pike for her third and final pass. Too much height this time. Before, she wasn't getting enough, so she has corrected that. Better to step out than to land too low and injure yourself. Overall, great routine, solid routine by, they call her Key.
Kiera Lane, junior from Houston. There's the height you were talking about.
Too much height. But she found herself taking a step back. The step out of bounds is a 3/10 deduction. It's not considered a fall.
On the vault for Bridgeport, Kelsey Campbell. And now Gabrielle Kistner. Nailing it.
I believe that was a Yuchenko layout. But I would need to get a better look at it. One more time. Here we go. Yuchenko 1.5. Yuchenko half. That's what it was. Hard to see in that slow motion. It looks like they do 10 flips, doesn't it, Mark? But it's really just one.
Jessica Wong will be up next on the floor for Yale. We go back over to the balance beam for Southern Connecticut. And finishing up, I believe was Emily Belasco. It might have been Kiara Laughlin.
That's where these numbers on the leotards would come into play. But now we have
Kathryn Doran for Bridgeport.
Yes, ready on vault. The waiting game is the worst part. Just standing there waiting for the judges to signal you that they're ready. You get a little anxious, you're ready to go, your muscles are warmed up, and the last thing you want to do is just stand there and wait for your turn. Nice Uchenko layout. Keeping it simple there on the vault.
It appears the team competition will come down to Yale and Bridgeport since they came in tied.
Simple and clean vault.
And now one of the two vaults complete for everybody for the Purple Knights is Sloane Smith out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, the senior.
One of the seniors. She is able to post a big score on this event. She only competes floor, so she has had to wait through 3 rotations now to get her turn. We saw her front pass was a double back. This should be her 3rd pass. Let's check it out. It should be a back 1.5 to a front pike. No, it was a front handspring, front layout, front half.
Right, she kept in bounds, so to speak.
Now watch this jump sequence coming up. Very difficult sequence. You got to switch side to a papa, which is a straddle full turn.
Ooh, a little raised eyebrow for effect.
Showing that personality. Here's that 3rd and final pass I was talking about, the back 1.5 to a front pike.
Ah, Sloane Smith, outstanding.
Stuck it just like she's been there before, Mark.
Let's look at all 3 of these passes, Allison.
Starting off with a double back for her first pass. Chest lifted. Lost the footing a little bit there on the end. Here's her front. Oh, there's the double back again. One more time. Take a look at that. Definitely a step out of bounds with that right foot. Onto her second pass. It's a front handspring, front layout, front half to a split jump. Nice connection. Looks like she just kept herself from going out on that one. And then her final 3rd pass is a back 1.5 to a front pike. Keeping that position clean in the air. Embracing the bounce of the floor. Keeping her grounded on the mat.
Here's Emma Firmstone getting set for her floor routine.
Emma Firmstone has impressed me so much this season so far. She's able to post solid routines. She's a reliable athlete for the Bulldogs.
Sophomore from Honesdale, Pennsylvania.
Taking those deep breaths. At this point, a lot of athletes like to visualize their routines, visualize the landings, get your mindset, because the mind in gymnastics is just as important as the physicality of it. And she's playing that waiting game right now. Important not to get into your head, not to overthink it.
Had a 9.0, a 9 flat on the beam.
Not a high for her, but she is able to post a bigger score on the beam.
9.4 on the bars and 9.475 her vault average.
Starting off with a back handspring double pike. Small step out. She's able to show her ability to dance in this routine. She shows a lot of balletic movements right after her jump sequence. Switch leap to a switch half. Right here, some of that balletic dance moves I was just talking about. Getting ready for a front full to a front pike. Nice opened up hips on that pike. Utilizing those different levels. And it's tiring having to dance from tumbling pass to tumbling pass when sometimes all you need is a little breath, a little breather. So that's why some of the movements are more simplified than others to get that adrenaline back down. Setting up for her third and final pass. It will be a front 1.5. To a split jump. Solid landing. Great routine by the sophomore, Emma Firmstone.
4 complete on the floor as we look back at this.
Taking a look back, there's that double pike. Chest a little low on the landing. Caused those steps at the end. Then her switch ring to a split full. Getting into the corner for her third and final pass, that 1.5 to a front layout. And here's the front 1.5 to a split jump, making that 180 degree with her legs. We'll get her full credit on that jump.
Springfield's been over on the uneven bars for a little while. And
nice piked Jaeger. Bail to the low bar, then a shoot over to the high bar. Double back. And your knees are allowed to come apart on that double back if you need to grab onto your shins. There is no deduction for that. High-fiving her teammates.
One more time on this dismount. There's the grabbing of the shins as you pointed out. And now here is J.C. Baldovino on the floor, the final competitor for score for Yale.
That final spot means you can pull the biggest score. So checking out her double pike to start off. Chest landed. Chest lifted high on that landing. And she has a fun routine to watch. Also a difficult jump sequence. Here's her switch ring to a tour-to-tay half. Making her way into the corner. Setting up her second tumbling pass. This is going to be a front layout to a front full. Nice form in the air. Drop that shoulder a little on the landing. Won't be a big deduction. And she's just very enjoyable to watch on the floor, Mark.
I totally agree.
Here's that third and final pass. One more deep breath. You got to give it everything you have here with a 2.5 to finish.
And she stayed in, a step forward, but she stayed in. J.C. Baldovino.
And that's a routine she's pleased with. Look at that excitement on her face. Let's take a look back, Mark.
Yeah.
Why don't we? At all three of those
And
beautiful passes she just had.
Tell me what you like.
I love the height on her double pike right here. She's able to open up for the landing, chest a little low, but no problem finding her feet. On this second one, that was that front layout, front full. A little off her equilibrium, but still nice height, nice form in the air. She's got her legs straight, toes pointed for this back 2.5 right here. That's the most that we've seen all day for her third and final pass. And I liked how much fun she had on that routine. It makes you enjoy it more as a viewer.
Well, that wraps up the floor competition for Yale. Their routine is complete. All of their routines are complete. Their competition is done. We still have a competitor on the beam for Southern, and actually an exhibition going on now for Yale.
So each team has had one exhibition on the floor. Oh no. This is Jade Buford. Her score will count. This is not an exhibition. We have one more.
They went out of.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
We have one more. This is Jade Buford. So she is the anchor. It'll be surprising if she can put up a bigger score than JC just did, but they are two of their strongest tumblers, so she is able to do it if anyone can. That was a switch leap, switch half to wolf full turn in that jump sequence. She's a very powerful, very strong routine. And she's a product of Texas Dreams, which is a very elite training gymnastics facility in Texas. Here's her back. 1.5 to a split jump.
Jade Buford, the final performer for Yale.
The
Last but
sophomore.
certainly not least.
Sophomore who can put up big numbers, and like I said, she's a product out of Texas Dreams. They have multiple gymnasts currently on the national team. They are an elite training facility. She trained with a numerous amount of girls, where normally when you're a level 10, you might have teammates of about 10, anywhere from 5 to 10 girls. She had about 15 that she got to train with.
Wow.
There was her second pass. And her third and final pass is a 1.5. She'll land it with a split jump connection. Solid routine by the sophomore for the Bulldogs.
And the scores being tallied.
And it looks like Yale might have been able to pull this one out, judging just by the look on JC Baldovino's face right now.
And there's a lot of hugs, a 9.75 for Jade Buford.
Silence around the rest of the gymnasium at this moment as the final scores are being tallied. We will have that exhibition we talked about on floor, Mark. Here's Sophie Memenelis. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
Yes.
That's a fun name. Sophie will start off her routine with a double pike for her first pass. There it is. Chest low. Nice landing, though. She's a sophomore out of West Coast Elite Gymnastics. Her highest score she has competed for the Bulldogs is a 9.6 on floor, so she's able to pull that big score. She's just working on fine-tuning the little things right now, getting her stamina up. Just perfecting all of her tumbling passes. Coming up on a front layout to a front full. Leg up turn, very difficult turn. She'll have a 1.5 front pike at the end. And she's able to complete that with a stick. Zeroed in right there on the landing. Nice routine.
Well, they're tallying up the point totals. Yale is a happy bunch. We haven't gotten the final word yet.
They might have done their own calculations on the sideline. Look at JC Baldovino.
Probably a math major in there in the group. They could do the totals quite nicely.
I think they can do more than count up the totals on gymnastics, as they have some impressive majors ranging from cognitive science all the way to history of science, medicine, public health, biomedical engineering, you name it. Someone on that team is studying it here at Yale.
A solid performance, certainly, here at the Tonry Invitational. Second home meet of the year for the Bulldogs. They'll have another one next week. Really a wonderful opportunity for everybody here in front of a really nice large crowd at the John Jay Amphitheater on the campus of Yale. The scores are being tallied up. 3 divisions of women's gymnastics, women's collegiate gymnastics represented today. Yale at the Division I level, Bridgeport and Southern Connecticut from Division II, and D3 represented by the pride of Springfield College.
And Mark, we need to wait on this final score because depending on what it is, if they break a 195, that is breaking program history. Program history in Yale has never broken a 195. They might be a little short today. We'll have to check out when we get that final score.
Well, you mentioned this year a high score of 192.80. So coming in at 145, they would need a little less than 45 points to break 190.
So their school record book high is a 194.600. But their goal this season is to break that 195 that they have
well, they
not
would have to have
been
a
able
50
to yet. So that's not possible.
Or 49.2.
For the 49.6. Oh,
49.2.
okay. So we'll have to get that final score. It'll be close. They will make a mark in the record books either way.
We are being handed the final tallies and your final team score. All right, let's go over some of this.
Check out how Yale did today. Here is on vault. That was JC Baldovino with the Yuchenko full. And then Rebecca Chong with the Yuchenko half. Here's Rebecca Chong again, that Yuchenko half. Small step back, but enough today. Let's see what else we've got. We have Emma Firmstone on the floor with the back handspring, double pike.
Well, I tell you what, we have the final scores, and for the Yale Bulldogs, it is a victory, a team victory, very, very tight. Yale 194.275, Bridgeport 194.225. Third place, Southern Connecticut, the Owls 191.825, and finishing fourth, Springfield College 186. Even. A tremendous gutsy performance at the end by Yale, trailing after 2 rotations, coming back to tie after the third, and then Yale squeaking out a victory over Bridgeport, 194.275 to 194.225. I mean, to determine where it was that you got that small margin, it's wow.
We talked about that, Mark, how important every single bobble is. Every touch is so essential in the sport of gymnastics. It's a sport that you work on perfecting throughout your competitions. So it could have come from as little as a bobble or a drop of the shoulder. It could have come from a small step out. We don't know. Came down to only 0.05. Impressive victory for the Bulldogs. They will now go into their next meet with a ton of momentum. I know Coach Barbara Tonry is happy, again, that this meet is in honor of her late husband. So a lot going on here today. A lot of fun for these girls. And Mark, I've had fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast. And congratulations to Yale. Congratulations to all 4 of the teams competing. University of Bridgeport, Southern Connecticut, and Springfield College as well. That's going to wrap things up from the John J. Lee Amphitheater here on the campus of Yale as Yale wins the 4th annual Don Tonry Bulldog Invitational. It's been a lot of fun to bring it to you. Next week, Yale will be at home for a dual meet against William and Mary. So until then, I'm Mark Robbins from my partner Allison Gaskins and the entire crew here at the Ivy League Network. So long and good night, everybody.